Thank you both for being with us today. I do want people to know, and Don, I want you to help me explain to our viewers what the USO does.
Well, there was a quote the other day that the USO is not supporting the military. The USO is actually part of the military. And that's because we are always where they need us to be. And whether that's here in Seattle or, overseas in a bunker somewhere, I mean, just to bring that sense of we are supporting the men and women that are serving our nation.
You guys do this in so many ways. Can you talk a little bit about the ways you support our military all over?
Sure. So when we have a surge, which we're in the middle of right now with Iran, then the USO is deployed with them. Not in harm's way, hopefully, but sometimes we are. But to provide the service that we provide to each one of the service members, and that is a connection to family, home, country. And it's very important because, the vast majority of the military are young. And often it's their first deployment. They've left some family behind, whether it be mom and dad or it could be a new wife who's about to have a baby. So we provide that on-site support wherever they are, but we also have the home side support with group baby showers for moms who are by themselves.
Wow.
And it's amazing how many children are born to young military personnel. And when you're not around mom and dad and your aunt and uncle and grandma and grandpa, we are those people, so the community, the essence of the USO is the community provides the family wherever the community is. And a lot of our volunteers are family members who have children in the military, but their children are somewhere else. So they're turning local to the local military to provide the support that they would provide their own child. Mm. And it's very personal, and it's no different than when you invite somebody to your home and you provide them a meal, you provide them a bed, you provide them a crib, and you give them the comfort they need at that moment in time. And so what Don and the staff of the USO Northwest do is they figure out what are the needs. And it's very adaptive to what the situation is. No 2 days are the same.
Yeah. It's a very powerful work that you guys do here at home and also across the world. Talk a little bit about just how powerful it is on a personal level, because you're in it. You see this work happen day to day.
Yeah, it's easy for me to understand my job or my role in the USO. I walk out of my office and I can literally see 100 people at the CTAC Center. And I know I need to do what I need to do to be able to take care of all these folks that come in and visit us, right? And so I'm predominantly the fundraiser in the area, right? But I also have a staff of 5, that I oversee. And so we need, like, as Pam said, we need to make sure that we have our resources where they need to be, where they are. If they're deploying out of Joint Base Lewis McChord, we need to be there to give them that last meal, to that encouragement. And, that's why the volunteers are so important. As I said, a staff of 6, you can't take care of Idaho, Oregon, and Washington by just with that number of people. And so we rely on the 350 to 400 volunteers that we have in the area to make that happen, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's super easy for me to see, because there's not a family with a little child or something running around the airport. And I just think if we weren't here, how could they do that outside the walls of the USO easily and safely as a parent? I mean, it just can't happen. So,
because of the work that you do and you're so close to it, I do want to ask you about volunteers, because and we know that it's so important to get things off the ground. And I've seen the work you guys do. It's a lot. I mean, it really is. How important are these volunteers to the operations of the USO?
Well, I'll start and then Pam can chip in too. But I mean, they're the lifeblood really of the organization. I mean, there are things that would never happen throughout the global USO without the volunteer, right? And even at SeaTac, I mean, there are nights where we're open 20 hours or in a day, and you don't have the staffing to be there all day, but the volunteers are there for that 4-hour shift. They take over and they just do what they need to do until everyone leaves at 4 a.m. So it's amazing.
It is amazing. It really is. And, it's not overly hard work, but it's not super easy either. I mean, these people work really hard, checking all the luggage. It's a simple thing because we're outside the TSA. So people can check their luggage if they have a long layover. They can go to Seattle, take in a game. But you can't do that if you can't check your luggage. I mean, these are big sea bags that are on their back, and they have to give it to somebody that they can trust so they can have some free time to come in and enjoy the city. So we check their bags. We check their dogs, their cats.
Wow.
We provide cribs for their children.
Diapers.
Everything. We have a bunk room. If they're dog tired, and a lot of people are, there was this one Coast Guard guy who was traveling by himself with his 2-year-old daughter many, many years ago. And he said, I handed my 2-year-old to a volunteer I could trust, and I went to bed.
Wow.
And when I woke up, she was happier than when I left. So, that trust in, like I said, if that was your mother or your father or your grandfather, you could trust them to do that. And those are the volunteers that are in our midst. And, we never, ever take for granted the extra time that these people put in out of their lives to personally care for our military and their families and their cats and dogs. It's amazing.
This is important work that these volunteers are doing, but it's also wildly rewarding to help our nation's military.
Yeah, I think when they first get into it, they don't really know exactly what to expect about being a volunteer, but the more they do it, they will not miss, their shift, right? Because they're so dedicated. I can even say that I have a sister who just started volunteering a couple of years ago, and she does shifts 8 till midnight, and she never did that, but she always talks about it. Oh, we saw this sailor came in, we saw this soldier come in, and it's story after story that you hear from them. And it's the same thing with the volunteers too. I mean, they have a great perspective on what it needs to be done at 10 o'clock at night to take care of a family of 4 that happens to walk through the door that's been traveling all day to get there. It's amazing.
As you look for volunteers, and hopefully volunteers sign up to help out, what kind of person are you looking for in a volunteer?
We're not overly selective. We just are looking for somebody who has the right temperament to care and to provide that warmth that you want to provide your military service members. And what I find, this is a large organization, large volume of volunteers. Whoever seems to step up seems to be some of the best people in the community. They just get it. Often they are retired, or maybe they were a spouse of a military personnel, so they know the world a little bit about it. But there are many who have never been around military and just become their brother and sister, their mother, their father, and make it happen.
Yeah, I like to say it's Americans taking care of the Americans that are serving.
Well said.
And it's just, sometimes it can be eye-watering, the things that they get to do. And so, it's almost part of the blessed part about being part of the USO, right? Because you just know when I go home at night, I just know that there's going to be probably 12 people in various shifts that are going to be there to take care of them. And that's heartwarming.
It is.
On top of volunteers, you guys can't do this without people who are generous and want to make sure that they are in some way helping. For somebody who can't maybe make the time, is there another way they can assist what the USO is doing?
Pam and I were just talking about it as we were waiting on this, the concept of time, talent, and treasure, right? I mean, some people can do the time like the volunteers, but some people have the capability to support. And so even yourself, you've come to one of our events, our gala. We have our golf tournament that's coming up here in the end of June that KOMO is helping to promote. And that could be the treasure aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's just those that can give. I mean, that's just a great way to do it too, right? Because it's all goes to the service members for
Right.
the most part. Yeah.
Right. And there's direct give opportunities. You can just go to the website and give. Some people, and they surprise us, it's such a surprise, do it through their, after they pass, they put it in their will. Don, you had an opportunity at one time to open a check in his office, and he almost fell out of his chair because this woman up in the San Juan Islands gave this enormous amount of money to the USO because somewhere in her life, her or her spouse were touched by the USO experience. Because the USO was formed in 1941. So in the midst of the beginning of World War II, everybody, all these various agencies were jumping in to try and do something. And President Franklin Roosevelt said, we have to congeal this into one organization. We can't be splintered. We can't be stepping on each other. So they formed the USO. From day one, it sounds like an organization that gets funding from the government. It gets no funding from the government. This is community helping their local service members. And so fundraising is a major part of what we do to keep the doors open. But, if you look at SeaTac Airport as an example, they donated the site for our lounge. I mean, they could be giving that to a major airline, but their position is we never want to see a service member sleeping on the floor. We don't want that. It's not who we are as Americans, right? Waiting for their next flight to go on the next duty station. So they give us, I don't know what the rent is. It's really like $1 or something, but they help us do what we need to do. And so that's the giving. It could be in kind, it could be monetary, it could be attend our gala in October, attend our golf tournament in June, and have a good time, and participate in a really fun auction. And the community's giving things to put in the auction. So there's probably hundreds of ways we get donations.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I do highly recommend the gala. Good time. But as people do hear about USO and hear about the work you do, what's the one thing you hope sticks in their brain? Because I think there is so much you guys do locally and globally. But as we think about the work that's being done and the lives that are being touched by the work that's being done, what do you hope people understand about the USO?
Actually, I think that's perfect. I think that they should, when you think USO, you should think that's an organization that takes care of the men and women and the families that are serving our nation. Right? Simple as that.
Yep.
It just that they're there, and then there will be a staff member or a volunteer or someone there to make sure that need is met for that service member or family member, because we have 80 to 100,000 people that come through, say, the SeaTac Center, and roughly probably 15% are children. So there's children that would otherwise have to be out in the airport, for 10 to 12 hours. I mean, how do you do that as a parent, right? And keep control of your children, but because kids just want to run around, they want to do things, and so they technically can do that easily at the USO Center, and everyone there understands that, right? That the child needs to run around, or he's got, he needs to do something. Right. So there's games and puzzles and just things, right, for kids to do. So
and free food, and drink, and that's a big deal. Free food. If you're an 18-year-old who just got out of boot camp, maybe you're going to Okinawa on your first duty station, you might not even have a credit card. I don't know how you survive in SeaTac Airport without a credit card, and that person comes up and they don't have to have a dime in their pocket. They can spend sometimes the layovers are 20 hours waiting for their flight. They can spend that entire time in that environment, and they're going to be taken care of by this community. Yeah, this community does that.
A perfect example. As soon as you walk out my door, like the hot dog machine is like 10 feet in front of you, right? And one time it was in the evening, and I walked out, and the service member was kind of standing in front of the hot dog machine, and he was kind of looking around like, hey, what can I do for you? And he's like, well, how much does it cost for a hot dog? I go, it's complimentary. You know, he goes, really? He goes, because I only have $1. And I go, no, it's complimentary because that's why we're here. And so then he ended up taking 3. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
Well,
But, you
I'm
know,
sorry.
Yeah.
he was a young kid. He just wanted to eat. He probably hadn't eaten all day
Sure.
because he was just, you know, he was traveling and had $1.
Wow.
And so, you know, it's just those kind of neat stories that really are, you know, the epitomize what the service members, what they do. So
My favorite story, Don and I, during COVID, we had to shut down like everybody. And Don and I were at the center just doing business. And we gave her this knock at the door. And it's a service member, Air Force service member, who is transferring his duty station from Korea to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina. So, you know, when you talk about the people that come through SeaTac, some of them are just passing through. They're not locals. So he had 2 cats with him. He was just, I'm a cat person. So he said, can I bring my cats into the bathroom? And I have a little portable litter pan. He had been on a flight from Korea to SeaTac. What is that? At least 11 hours,
yeah,
right?
11 or 12. Yeah.
And so he had to get his cat some relief. And he set up this little pan in the men's room. His cats got to walk around before he had the next flight, which is at least 6 hours, maybe a layover somewhere. And so he's on a long journey with his little cats, and we adapted and helped him out. And he just was so appreciative. It was just very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Well, we are grateful you guys took the time to talk about USO with us, and we look forward to talking more in the days to come. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for having
Steve.
us. Yeah.
It's very nice.
We love it. And you always are invited to come to SeaTac at least, or even down to Joint Base Lewis McChord and see the 2 centers down there as well. So thank you.
And we deeply appreciate the support from KOMO. It's been unprecedented. Thank you so much.
Thank you.